So in the previous video I explained you the basics of stack, and in this video and the next few videos I'll show you how to create a program on stacks. Now this will be the basic structure of our program. There will be three user defined functions: push, pop and display. The push function will be used to insert an element into the stack. The pop function will be used to delete an element from the stack, and the display function will be used to display elements of the stack. Now all these three functions, push, pop and display, will be called from the main function. I am using dev C++ compiler to write this program, and if you want this compiler then you can download it from this website or search on Google. Now I have just declared an array, and the name of this array is stack, and the size of this array is 5 because the value of max here is 5, and this hash defined max 5 is also called symbolic constant. Now I have initialized the value of top to -1 because initially we want our stack to be empty, and when the value of top is equal to -1, then that means the stack is empty. And these three statements are written outside the main function. They are written in global sections, so any function in this program will have access to these three statements. This is a function named push, and this function will be used to insert elements into the stack, and this function takes an argument of type int. This is a function named pop, and this function will be used to delete an element from the stack, and the return type of this function is int. So this function should return an integer. This is the display function, and this function will be used to display elements of the stack. So I just declared three functions, and now I'll create the main function. If you don't know what this while one loop does, then you don't need to worry about it. It's not so important at this point. At the end of the program, when I'll run this complete program on stacks, then I'll show you what this while one loop does, and at that time it will make more sense to you. Now these four print statements will display a message to the user that enter your choice. 1 means push, 2 means pop, 3 means display, and if you enter 4, then that means exit. Now this scanf statement will allow the user to enter a choice, and the valid choices will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now the switch statement will check the choice entered by the user and will execute an appropriate choice. So if the user enters 1 as choice, then this case 1 will get executed. This printf statement will just display a message to the user that yes, you have to enter a number to be inserted into the stack. And this scanf statement will allow the user to enter a number through keyboard. Now this is just a function call. I am calling the function push, and this function push takes an argument of type int. This num is an integer value that has to be inserted into the stack. This num will be passed into the push function. Now at this point I've only declared these three functions. I've not defined them. After completing the main function, I'll define all these three functions one by one. Now this break statement is important because if the user enters 1 as a choice, then this case 1 will get executed, and this break statement will stop the execution right here. Now if this break statement wasn't there, then if the user enters 1 as a choice, then first this case 1 will get executed, then after executing this case 1, this case 2 will also get executed, which should not happen if the user enters 1 as a choice. Here I am just calling this pop function. This pop function has a return type int, so this function should return an integer value, and whatever value this pop function will return will be assigned to this num. Here I am just calling the display function. Now if the user enters 3 as a choice, then this case 3 should get executed, which means display. Now the default case. Now the valid choices for this switch statement are 1, 2, 3 or 4. If the user enters anything other than 1, 2, 3 or 4 as a choice, then this default case should get executed and a message will be shown to the user saying invalid choice. End of switch. This is the end of while one loop, and this is the end of the main function. Now let me compile this program, and there is one error. I forgot to close this, so now it should be fine. Now the compiler is showing an error, undefined reference to push, pop and display. This is because I am calling the function push, pop and display, but I haven't yet created or defined these functions. So when I'll create the push function, the pop function and the display function, then this error will disappear. So I've created the main function, and in the next video I'll create this push function, or I'll define this push function to insert elements into the stack.